not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, because I've started a bit late. I'm just sitting here anyway. I might as well go live, mightn't I? But yes, I hope we're all doing well. Let me just sort the light out. And maybe let me lower the music a bit as well. It's turned on. There we go, back to normal. Your TV breaking can be seen in Discord. Oh, crikey. That is tremendously broken. That is not good, bestie. It'd just be Twitch. So, as long as the TV's okay, that's good, but still yikes. Very yikes on that. Yeah, TV's fine, that's good. That is good at least. No big screen, no. Can you turn it off and back on again or something? I don't know. Sorry, you've definitely thought to do that. I don't know why I've just suggested that like I've solved all your problems. Could you use your could you turn it off and back on again? Thanks, no, thank you. Yes. Have you tried putting it in rice? Thank you. Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. Maybe try turning it off and on again then. But yes, how is everybody? Blair, how are you? Berry, how are you? I hope we're all good. Yeah. I'm there, but we're okay. Oh, you drove car! Ooh, very exciting. Very exciting. To anywhere or just go for a drive? Because that's good. Don't you have an actual IT problem and they told me to turn it off and on again and it worked? Sounds like you should start doing that more then, maybe. It is a good fix. It is a good fix. Down to the beach. Ooh, very nice. Love that. In me mum's car, vroom vroom. Berry's in her own car. Because she's done the thing now. Yes, that's good though. That's good. I don't know what the vibe of this stream's going to be because I was doing fine and then like an hour ago I felt like just you know what I mean? Passed the driving test and got the car. It's so good. It's quite around there, so did some driving to get used to the clutch. Ah, got you. Turns out that worked. Amazing. Amazing. If in doubt, turn it off and back on again. Works every time. Every time. Now on the big TV, yes, let's go. Let's go. This music's quite sleepy. If that's the vibe that you're feeling already, it's a bit... Hey Trev, hello, how are things? How's TwitchCon? The clutch is so different to your instructor's car, Loki. I wouldn't even know, bestie. I would not know the differences at all. But yes, how's things, Trev? How's TwitchCon? I heard from Bailey earlier. I know she and Vic are having a great time. But yes, I hope you're doing good. I had some bacon before stream and I don't think it's quite agreeing with me, but oh well. Separate note, if we want repeat of Drunk, you bought some new soju today and you kind of want to try. I don't even know what that is. Which is a theme of today's stream, apparently. But if you wanna, you go for it. You go for it if you want to. Yeah. Japanese alcohol. Ooh, very nice. Rice-based, okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Honestly, you've had some before and it's so good. Nice. Nice. Drunk. Berries in support. Yes, yes. It's either Japanese or Korean, but hey, I mean, I wouldn't know, I'm afraid. I would not know. Either way, it's nice. That's what matters. That's what matters. I thought this song got a bit more rambunctious, but it's not. Oh, is there another one called Lanayru Mining Facility? Maybe that might be what I'm thinking of. Oh, Lanayru Desert. Oh, I see. Sorry. Look, maybe Korean because you've heard our Korean obsessed co-worker talking about it before. Our Korean obsessed co-worker, love that. Love that from her. Get her on the soju, amazing. I feel like I haven't seen her in ages. Suddenly saying, oh yeah, I know exactly who you mean. Exactly who you mean. Oh, I had a thought and I've lost it. Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen her for ages. I think she's off now. I think she's off this coming week, yeah. But like, because of the hours I work, I only really see her on Wednesdays now. Because every other day I come in after she's left already. So it's like, I don't really see her. Yeah, might be a while. Sorry, I definitely want to stream today. I feel sleepy. I feel like low energy. Oh, I do love this song. Go on, let's have this one. So, yes, we can of course just yap as long as there's things to yap about. But I don't know what to actually stream today. Like what games or what things to stream, because a whole new set of options have presented themselves to us. So we've got Layton, because of course we've got Layton, that's still going on. Absolute just yapping, truly just yapping. Yapped. Yes, I may have got something else going, which I have spoken about briefly on stream before. Something may be up and running. Are the Lego games a possibility? No, because I don't actually own them. I do not own them. Look at that original hardware. Yes, the original hardware is up and running. And then also, there's potential for Breath of the Wild to also be played on its original hardware. But Breath of the Wild would be a totally normal playthrough and with no modifications at all. If you see what I'm saying. Just some silly, goofy little extra things that I may have got working. Sorry, I'm looking through the goofy ass mods I have on here. You need to restart your island. Well, that's the thing, because like I am never ever going to delete my island. It's not happening. I've put so much time into it. It's never going. So it's like, well, I could wait until the Switch 2 comes out, the next Nintendo console, and restart then. Or Now I've got this going. We could start that. Or we could play Layton. So I'm twinkly torn about what to do. Horizon Reset Island, yeah, I know. It's a pain. If they let you have different islands on different profiles, my life would be complete. I'd be so set. But no. No, they don't let you do that. If you do start a new island, you may start alongside me. The only thing to add, because I'm playing this on the hardware I'm playing it on, you can't visit other people's islands. There's just no, you can't do that. I think you can do it with other people that play on the same hardware as me, but there's no visiting each other's islands. Oh. Go on, Sacred Grove, go on. That's the only thing about doing what I'm doing. Honestly, it would be so good. Like, it would have been so good. I would have had so many islands with so many different aesthetics. Yeah. I saw an island tour recently of a mountain core island, and I sort of want to do that because my beloved island is very flat, which I'm okay with, but somewhat different, you know. Something a little bit different. May give you motivation to actually restart, that's fair. Have you ever restarted? I can't remember. Yep, it's all come flooding back to me now. I remember. Yeah, no, that was pain. Nintendo, please. Nope. Oh, also, something else. You know Joy-Con drift in controllers? I've noticed in the last couple of days, I've developed Pro Controller drift, which is a problem. It's not bad, but oof. I'm going to need to take it apart because I believe it's not that difficult to take these apart. But sad, because I've only had it since 2020. It's not that old. Compared to my 2017 Joy-Cons are begging for the next console, apparently. But, I mean, they're begging to retire, but this should be okay, surely. Surely. Yeah, no, that really sucks. That it just wasn't backed up. Because it was a weird system. It wasn't just cloud saves. For the island, it was something else. Like a different system for doing it, and I don't get why they did what they did. You know what else I need to do? Because I've been meaning to do this literally all day, and I keep forgetting. I'm seeing Estrogen Man tomorrow, and I need to figure out how long it's going to take me to get there, so I know what time to leave. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Google says from... Yeah, go from my house. Why is home not there? Fine, go from... And if I go by cycling... Only about 10 minutes? I don't believe that. That's what I'm doing. I'm literally Google Mapsing on stream. I'm not showing you for obvious reasons, but... Also, I don't want to go the way it's telling me to go. Okay, so I need to leave like 15 minutes before the appointment. So let's call it 20. But they're going to be late because... GP. But you know, yes. I just need to go to the doctors. Let's go together. Let's go together. I assume you're tell me why, but it's kind of bad. You'll DM me why. Okay. But yes, go to the doctors. If you try and get an appointment tomorrow, then we can sit in the waiting room together. No, don't do that. No. But go to the doctors. Be healthy. Yes. I've got messages in my DMs. I won't read them out. Show them on screen, of course. Ah, got you. Okay. I mean, maybe. Real besties sit in the GP waiting room together. Yes. Last time I went, it was rammed. There was like quite a small waiting room. You have so much work to do. But your health, though, bestie. Your health, though. Be healthy. Be healthy. Yeah, no, you do. True, can't work if you don't got the health. That's very true. Do it, book it. I mean, you're awake early. You can totally do that. Like for me, I have to wake up early to book an appointment. You could just book it. Yeah. Awake early, yes. Really? Really? The entire time I've known you, you've woken up between like 6 and 8 in the morning every day. Speaking of wake up early, that 5-day work week killed me, so I woke up at 8:30 as usual and went back to sleep till 11. Yes, do it. That's what I do. I just wake up at 11, to be honest. It's a solid like 10, 12. Well, no, like 10, 11. I'll wake up. But yes. Oh, it's gone. Oh. I was not aware of that. Okay. COVID destroyed that? Really? Really? Wow. I've had this image of you waking up early every day. Interesting. Well, okay, in that case, wake up early and book a GP appointment. Because, be healthy. A lot of people's sleep schedules didn't survive COVID. Oh, yeah, no, it was in COVID. In COVID, I would stay up till 4 in the morning watching... Not saying to blame anyone, but to watch Twinkly Tour streams. I would stay up till like 4 in the morning. So, you know. Yeah. Your natural sleep pattern is 8. There is literally no 8 in your message. 2 a.m. to 10 a.m, but your work determines that be no. Right, this is the thing, because my sleep pattern is basically that, what you just said, and I'm very lucky at the moment that my work schedule accommodates that. Which is pretty good. You were clocking similar times, but you can't even remember what the fuck you were doing. I mean... You're still awake when I go to bed a lot of the time. So, like... Yeah, I can see that for sure. I need to take City in the Sky off the playlist. It's not the one. You're doing a 9 to 5? I know, truly. Managed to fix the COVID sleep schedule by 2 hours. Progress, though. Progress. Same, though. Went from 4 to 2. Yes. Progress. I used to be quite good when I used to work 3 open shifts in a week. I did used to be quite good, and then no. You roll out of bed and run to work. There. I think I'm quite good at getting up. Yeah, but Don Paulo doesn't give you open shifts, does he? The aim is to get in for 9. Normally I'm in for 10. I wish I had that flexibility. To be fair, there's been times where I've walked past, like, Primark at like 5 to, and I've been like, oh shit. So, yeah, no. This Friday you woke up at 9:45, so didn't get to work till 10:30. Fair. Yeah. And no, he really doesn't give you open shifts. Actual pain. Benefits of a PhD. That's true. That's true. The retail work could never. But oh well. Yeah, no, you make up elsewhere, of course, of course. I think I would so do that if I had a position where I was able to do that, like make up time at other hours. I would definitely come in later and stay later. I think that's my preferred. To be fair, I think I could go to bed early, but the international friends really did a number on me, so you know. It'd be like that, I guess. Like early, but Don Porter doesn't provide, truly. Truly. You're the last one out, yeah. Yeah. To be fair, it's probably the mornings because... Like, he doesn't need people in the mornings because, like, the news team are in the morning. He starts at 9, or security guard starts at 9. Like, I get why he needs people at the end of the day, but, like... I used to do 3 opening shifts, and now just nobody does them. I do have to go early tomorrow because shit's time sensitive. Oh. Oh. Oh, that emote's cute as well. With the egg. Don't really care in the mornings, yeah. To be fair, we get more wackos at the end of the day, don't we? So. Literally, yeah. I'm fuming that guy's still coming in, the set for life guy. Narrowly avoid the weirdos on a 1-5, yep. As you found out yesterday on your 3-7. Oh no, they do. They absolutely all come in after 5. Like, ugh. Ugh. Lifting notes twice in one day. Did he come in twice? No, Blair, no. Somebody plays it and then doesn't know how to play it, so he's convinced. Squeak. Hi, Sabine. He's convinced that he's won some money and he just hasn't, because it's not how the game works, because... No. Came to Tills, went to the door, lost you, then came back. Oh, okay. I'm a bit surprised that he does lottery, to be honest. Also, sorry, hi Sabine, I hope you're doing well. Oh, you have so much delay? No. I hope, I hope you're doing well, though. Yeah, it's the lottery, I know. Apparently he couldn't pay for his book. Dodgy transaction. I don't understand him. I don't understand. He's got his ways with money, hasn't he? Hi Sabine. I hope you're doing well. I hope if you had work, I hope work was good. I hope, yeah, things are good. Your good work was chaotic, but we're surviving. Belt. Feel that majorly. Yeah. Let you refresh. Okay. Hi, refreshed Sabine. Hello, if you're already back. But yes, I hope it wasn't too bad, because, I've not done Letterboxd. Security guy was grinning while he was staring and flicking his notes. Security guy kind of loves it, doesn't he? Security guy loves... Hi, back, hello. Security guy loves when the weirdos come to the till and he can just watch them. Bit better, okay. Do Letterboxd. I will, Mum. Okay, I'll do it. I know, it's not his problem, is it? But then, notes guy stands right in front of him and flicks his notes, so, you know. Yeah, no, lucky get, isn't he? Can't complain. You haven't seen a movie recently. Ooh, okay. Oh, I watched the original Star Wars yesterday. The first one, A New Hope. For the first time. That's my movie going recently. Yeah. Last was Beetlejuice, yeah. How was it? I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I liked it more than Revenge of the Sith. I might have liked it more than Revenge of the Sith. I don't know. I know, I popped in because, like... To be fair, because I forgot that Elaine was in as well, so I was like, yes, I'll work through the shift swap. But it was fine anyway, so... yes. Well, if someone had been downstairs, I wouldn't have. Actually, I'll tell you what it was as well, because I think the emote. Oh, Elaine, yeah, Elaine's on it with the working Sundays and shift swapping. She knows everything. She'll ask me, like, are you working on Sunday? I'll be like, I don't know. Say hi, yeah. Yeah, no, I forgot as well that Rita wasn't in. If Rita had been in, I don't think I would have come in. Because, like, no thanks. But we were in the clear, so all good. Maybe watch a movie tomorrow to procrastinate learning. Learning's good. We do like learning if you've got things you need to do. But yes, also movies. Oh, and I've been watching Lord of the Rings. I've watched the first one now. All the work. Yes. Wait, because I know Barry knows this. You two, Blend Speed, you don't yet. I went to my local zoo this week. Lord of the Rings, yes. I went to my local zoo, which I haven't been to for like 5 years. And then I go home and I go on Facebook and I see Steve was at the zoo the same day as me, and I could have like bumped into him with my parents, and I would have been mortified if that had happened. No one wants to bump into Steve on the day off at the zoo. Don't. Also, like, my parents brought up Steve whilst we were at the zoo. I was like... And then went home and saw that he'd been there, and I was like, okay. What are the chances? I know. Because I've never known him to go there. I don't think I've ever seen photos of him at the zoo. They sensed his presence, truly. Truly. I wonder what mood he'll be in tomorrow, because he's had 2 weeks off. I wonder if he'll be like Grumpy Steve or if he'll get Happy Steve. And I need his holiday lore. I need to know what happened. Bro's gonna hate the world. I don't know, because sometimes when he comes back, he's a bit happy, a bit jolly. But if he's had his boyfriend being like, quit Steve, quit the job, and then he has to come back, then maybe, yeah. Like if his boyfriend's been whispering in his ear. But yeah, no, I want to know what he's like, and I want to know how their little getaway went. And yeah, I want to know what's up. But he won't tell me because I don't know. We don't have that kind of relationship apparently. Who else is in tomorrow? I assume just the usual suspects. Yeah, no, apparently you do. I'm not blessed enough. I'm not a trusted person to get the details. Yeah, no, I just can't read. Wow, there's only 6 people in tomorrow all day. That's fucked. Well, this rotor that I've taken a photo of is like a couple of weeks old. But like, really? That's bad. Oh, also, Barry, does Don Paulo know about our shift swap, or will I have to tell him tomorrow? If I've got to tell him, that's fine. I don't mind. Wow, there's just nobody in. Like, all week, there's no one in. That's outrageous. Chief God's fine, don't worry. 2 brain dead is okay, it's so okay. That's retail for you, I know, it's so bad. You forgot. Forgot. We always thought one way or another, truly. Truly. The epitome of forgot. I feel like I'm not. I feel like I remember a lot of things. I'm just like, if it's telling someone something, I'm just too awkward to do it. I have a forgot, don't I? Oh no, that's in Mimi's chat. Because there's a forgot emote, but I don't have it. I need to do that. I want to remember things, but alas, forgot. Yeah, I feel like I don't forget, and I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. But no, I feel like things stay lodged in my little head for some reason. But oh well. It'd be like that. I remember all the wrong things. Kind of same, to be honest. Kind of same. Anything important's evicted from your mind. But that one thing you did 10 years ago, oh god. Still there. Oh, yeah, no, sorry. No mind. Yeah, truly. Living there rent-free. I love Twilight Princess music, it's so good. You head to strainer, but you don't get to decide what falls through the holes. Truly. Truly. It be like that. It so be like that. Realist, yeah. What a bop. It's such a bop. I miss Odyssey. I've been watching a few Odyssey videos on YouTube recently. I should play it again. Real game music peak. Like with Peach's Castle, this is 64. So the music from 64, what we're actually listening to is from Mario Odyssey. So it's like I'm not musical, I don't know. Re-recording of it. There you go. But it's the same song. And like, yeah, that's sort of what I was going to say. That like it's, you know, I've heard this music in so many different games. It's just, yes, in the castle. I think I first heard this on the DS. You just played through Odyssey. Oh yeah, you do. I've been kind of feeling recently like I should do an Odyssey, like all moons. Like I should just try and get everything. Because when you do Speedy, you only get like 1/7, 1/8 of all the moons. Like, I don't know, 15% of the moons, you don't get the rest. Today, probably not today. Some are difficult, yeah, but like I'm good at the game, so it's fine. Always say, I don't think all moons today. No. I mean, all moons take speedrunners like 8 hours to do. Oh no, it's possible, Sabine. People do it. I mean, it's not possible for me, but it's possible. Let's see, what's the world record? Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah, untrade, no chance. All moons. Yeah, the best all moons run is just over 7 hours long. But there's only 196 runs that have ever been logged anyway. So, Odyssey's the first Switch game you finished? Same, probably. Because I got Breath of the Wild first, but that took a long time to finish. Oh wow, I'm reading the rules for it. If you do a proper run, there's a whole break system. If you're playing under 4 hours, you're allowed 1 break, which is 15 minutes. If it's 4 to 8 hours, you're allowed 2 breaks, which is 30 minutes. Like, what? What? All-nighter? No. Nuh-uh. No chance. You're just saying he. It's so good. He. Technically, we got 7 hours if we ignore sleep. Well, yeah, no, we got all the time in the world if we ignore sleep, but let's not do that. And how will your driving lesson go? Ooh, exciting driving lesson. Nice that they thought about it, yeah. Bit of brake systems in your work. Oof. Oof. Yikes. Also, hi Blair, what are you watting? Oh, there you go. Small Ant has done it in 8 hours 21 minutes. Ugh. Oh, the brake system for speedruns. Ah, okay. I don't really think Point Crow ever did these. Did a full run. I'm looking down the list. I don't see him. No, I don't think he did. Oh well. Been incredibly cozy, laying on the sofa and reading a book. Love that for you. Love that. I read some of my book yesterday. I haven't read anything for like 3 months, and I picked up my book again and read for an hour. Look at me go. I'd only have it in me to try short speedruns. I don't think I could do the long ones. No, I need... It needs to be long enough, because if a run is like under an hour and you just like reset all the time and just do it the same bit again and again, it kind of drives me mad. You could try nipple percent. I bet you could. I bet you could. No, I would need longer than that. Like, because any percent, you know, for me is like an hour and a half. Yeah, about an hour and a half, so that's fine for me. Yeah, which book did I read? I have been reading for a very long time. I have been reading the physical book from the from which the popular Netflix show You is based on. I've been reading that exact book, and I'm like halfway through it. But yes. And I've got books 2 and 3 as well in the series. Remember me telling you about it? Yeah. Well, it's the same book because I don't read very often. But oh well. That's a wild title without consent. It truly is. Truly is. Well, fun. Have you seen the TV show? Because it's like, it's fun for me, but not fun for the characters. I have to read a 750-page for your book club. Oh, that's long. That's long. I've dropped my hair tie. Where's my hair tie? I can't think unless I've got something in my hands. Where is it? Oh, it's way under the spaghetti wires. Hang on. Got it. Maybe seen one episode. So I like it. F hair tight. I got it. Spaghetti wire. Don't. It's bad. It's bad because there's a corner of my desk where I physically can't put my chair or put my legs. So just the wires live in there. It's yeah. Yeah. We don't talk about it then. Yeah, no, but the book's good and I'm enjoying it because I've read the TV show first and it follows a lot of the same. Well, of course, it's an adaptation. It follows the same like narrative beats, so it's nice. And I can read it in the characters' heads and it was like reading TV shows. I do as well. I like because I watched Harry Potter before I read Harry Potter. And I liked that. I liked doing it that way. So, yeah. I do like watching books, yes. You know what else I need to read, actually? I need to read Lord of the Rings. Which apparently is a bit of a mission. But I should read them. This song is long. Hateno Village music track is 8 minutes long. Or 7.5 minutes long. Wow. It is still a vibe though. You have the whole trilogy in one book. We sell the whole trilogy in one book. I know the exact thing you mean. Haven't read it though. I've got all 3, but separately, because I think one would scare me too much. But yes, I have got all 3, and I think I did start reading the first one, but like, I always think it starts a bit slow. Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings, but once they get out of the Shire, then I'm on board. Before that, it's a bit. Found it in a. LFL. I don't know what an LFL is. Ah, nice. Nice. Yeah. No, we do sell that one, the one book with all three parts in, and I'm like tempted, but I've also got them all singly, so I shouldn't. Have I ever sold it? I think so, yeah. I think I have. Listen, I want... There you go, a more jamming song. Yeah. Okay, friends, we should play some games, shouldn't we? Yeah, that's what I think. Like that's quite a daunting read if you get all 3 in one go. Games, yeah, I don't know what game to play, Sabine. What are we playing? I don't know. So, I've done this bit before stream. Sorry, before you joined, Sabine. So everyone else, just bear with me a moment. But I've done the thing, Sabine. I've done the thing. So we could. Or I could play modded Breath of the Wild. Or we could play Layton. And I'm so twinkly torn. I don't know. We could play Leg. Layton. Layton, was it? Layton? Was it the last thing? There's Thingy, Animal Crossing, modded Breath of the Wild, or Layton. And I don't know if I'm feeling a big new start right now is the thing. As you can tell, bit tired. Animal Crossing yapping? We could. Big jams. Let me pull up my own Steam. Okay. Yep, there's nothing else I want to play on Steam right now. Golf with Friends for the first time yesterday. It was so fun. Okay, I have Golf It, not Golf with Friends. I grew up on Golf It YouTube videos, not Golf with Friends. But still go off, it does look fun. But Golf It was my childhood. I love Golf It. Multiplayer golf, another comfort. Yes. Golf It. It's on my desktop. This one, Golf It. It's like Golf with Friends, except the way that you swing is you physically drag your mouse back and then hit forwards. So it's really hard to gauge how hard you're going to hit it, because you've got to just go like it and hope that it works. So it's, yeah. So much games. I know, I have so much games. Yeah, no, just Markiplier, anything it seems. I never really grew up with Markiplier. I love him, but I never really grew up on Markiplier's videos. I don't know. I just never got into it. Well, I've not beaten up Duck Simulator, truly. Truly the placid plastic duck simulator. What's this song? The Knights Academy, right? No, it's not at all that. It's Farron Woods. Okay. Funny enough, you didn't grow up on his videos. I watched a few. Then you grew up and suddenly got 12-year-old level invested. Fair. Fair. See if I did this with anybody. I don't think I really came to anyone that late. I did come on to Jacksepticeye a bit later, I suppose. But yeah. So much Jacksepticeye, yeah. I feel like with Jacksepticeye, I've like retroactively watched a lot of videos. Oh, love that. Yeah. No, I do love me a good Jacksepticeye video. Oh, nice. Had to drag your mum with you because you were still too young to go alone and didn't have many friends of that age. She had no idea what was going on. Fair. No, I've not met any YouTubers, I don't think. Start to play something with me if that would open some possibilities. Oh, I'm not feeling Fortnite tonight. I think we're in more of a chill mood than Fortnite. You need it. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you for offering. Yeah. I think I'm alright just yapping for the time being. Because I don't know if I want to start Animal Crossing today. If I'm in a bit of a slow mood, I don't know if I'd want to start that. Just yapping stream, yeah. What games I have on my Switch? I keep doing this. Like, you know when you pull out your Switch and you look to see what games have magically installed themselves and none have? But you're like, oh, I wonder what's on there. And it's like, no, it's the same things that are always on there. I know, yeah. Steam? What have you gifted me? What have you got from me, Steam? And then it's nothing. You forget some parts of your backlog, yeah. Yeah. Epic Games. Excuse me, Epic Games do indeed be offering free games. Good morning, thank you. Yeah, sometimes when you look at your Steam library, remember you've downloaded every free major MMO in existence. Nice, though. Right, I'm gonna be real. You know what is jumping out to me the most, honestly, is Layton. Like, I'm feeling a slow pace. I know you need to use your brain, but like a slow paced mouse only clicky game is sort of where my slow little brain is at. Sugar Black's playing Star Trek Online. Ooh, sounds good. It's like looking at the menu and picking what you always eat. Don't, because I do that every time. It's the same thing. It's the same food every time. Your laptop is constantly in distress. Same. Always down for Layton. Yes. One last look of my own desktop. Anything else I'd want to play more? Oh, don't. You've seen me in a restaurant one time, okay? Also, do you think I can see if I can get a refurbished gaming laptop for cheap, or do they not exist? I don't know. Actually, I was going to look at pre-built PCs for my parents. Just to like see what was out there, because their old one is devastatingly slow. Look into a gaming computer at some point. Game of Parents Arc. No, this would be a solid Microsoft Word and storing photos PC. Started playing Warhammer. Oh, since you started playing Warhammer, your gaming PC fund has gone poof. Sad times. This saddest of times. Some of these notes sound wrong in this song. I don't know what this is. Let's do it. Oh, sorry. I cut off the music too soon, didn't I? Hi, Streamlabs. Hello. And the last spec. There we go. What a jam. So, what happened? There's a witch, and she's ill. Are you feeling a cheeky bit of almost 11 PM chalky milk? Yes, do it. Do it. I mean, I'm going to have a midnight apple after stream, so I say just go for it. Ariana demands that Layton and the others leave her house. They decide to make inquiries about her. Ascending out of bed. Do it. Go, go. If they can find the truth behind the rumours of her being a witch, maybe they can open her up. Breaking and entering. Yes, yes. I thought you meant into berries for some chalky milk at first. I was like, oh, okay. The wheel pulling up. Okay. It's not working. That's a sorry sight for a windmill. Also an option. Yes, yes. Certainly contributes to the gloomy atmosphere. You're so welcome to pull up. There's enough to go around. Well, okay, you're the one with the car here, so you come to mine, and then we'll go and pick up Sabine. We can be sure. Okay, Blair's in as well. Let's go. I think I also have some. I don't. No, I'm sorry, but in this stream, you're the one with the car. I think as far as I know, that is a completely true statement. You're the only one here with a car. You was thinking, yeah, but like, just make better drives. Don't ask me why I picked my phone up to be like, how much is an Uber from mine to Berry's when I don't even have Berry's exact address? I just have a rough area of where she lives. You love your little car? Yeah, that's so good. Plus, also, I'm trying to book an Uber at 11 PM, so it's going to be spenny. Let's see. I think about there somewhere, maybe? I'm literally doing the pin on a map thing. I promise I'm not a stalker, by the way. It occurs to me I don't know where you live. No, never mind. It's okay, you're allowed to stop me. Oh, thanks. Thanks, bestie. Oh, I think I might have found it. Sorry, yeah, no, I think I may have found your address with slightly worrying accuracy. 18 pounds for an Uber, fuck. Sorry, yeah, no, you're picking me up, I'll pay for petrol. Okay. Right, maybe the residents of High Yard Hill know more about Ariana. Right, maybe someone near here can give us some information. Let the investigation continue. Defo nighttime fees, probably, yeah. You know, it's been a while since I've been in an Uber. When would I have last Ubered anywhere? I don't know. I don't even know. Chalky milk acquired. Let's go. Let's go. If you want to be a stalker, you gotta be stalking during the day. There. Yeah. And not me reading the book as well. Oh, no. Really isn't a thing here. Really? Interesting. Only in Amsterdam. Okay. I mean, it's like, it's not even really a thing where my parents live. Yeah, no, I think it's just a big thing in the big cities, which I happen to live in one at the moment, so yeah. Oh yeah, no, every time Blair gets in an Uber, I get a notification saying Blair's in an Uber, track the ride here, and I just like sit and I just watch the little dot move along the map. It's cute. Not a story, but a lesson. Don't say that. Oh no. I know, yeah, Blair just invites me to it. Blair literally shares it. Love that though. Your hometown Uber doesn't exist, yeah. I think I actually tried in my parents' like area, and there was like one Uber just chilling somewhere. Like outside of that, it's got to be a taxi. Yeah, no live location at all. Yeah, I think it's slightly off because it's like from my perspective, you like turn onto your road, and then it's like the ride has finished instead of going all the way. So people share their live location every minute of the day. I know people that do that. Yeah, like. I'm quite a nosy person in certain regards, so like I'm up for it. And on a real level, I do have snap maps on. If anybody has me on Snapchat, they can see, well, not everybody, but privileged people on Snapchat can see my location. Blair, I can see where you were 10 hours ago. That's nice. Oh, wow, you were, like, there 10 hours ago. Okay, cool. Interesting. Notes, notes. Oh, you do? Oh, okay, fair enough. That's fair then. Oh, I can see Twinkly Tor as well. That's cute. Where the fuck are you 10 hours ago? It looks like you were in Boots maybe 10 hours ago? Somewhere around there anyway. your little person's just jumped because you've opened Snapchat now. Love that. The late game to stalking pipeline's real. Hey, I'm not a stalker, I'm just interested. What is it, MJ says in Spider-Man Homecoming? I'm not obsessed, I'm just very observant. Need some arguing when we went to Boots. But yes, yes. Okay, yes, it was. Let's go back to Plies. Fair. Fair, fair. Yeah, for sure. Just very observant. Right, let's talk to the flossing kid. You two were in the market, weren't you? Yep, she's Ren. And he's Socket. Okay. Exploring new territory today, I see. He definitely thought, no, truly he does. Yeah, Boogie let us take one of his boats out for a little test run. Oh, really? Now, come on, there's no need to look at me like that. Crow didn't happen to tell you two to keep an eye on us, did he? You're going to go lurk because you want to shower. No worries. No worries. Oh, have a good shower. I'm going to say, hope you have a good shower. Have a good shower. And yes, we'll be here. We'll be here. Definitely forces his parents to buy V-Bucks gift cards, yeah. For sure. What? Whatever gave you that idea? Yeah, we're out sightseeing. In our hometown. Because you can't take everything for anything for granted. I see. Well, let's leave it at that then. You have anything for me? No. Well, damn. How rare does he find dam? Yeah, we've heard this before. Big dam, little bridge. Pretty good composition. Master puzzle finder. Oh. Stray compass, nice. Looks like a good sturdy bridge. It needs to be too. A lot of tourists line up for photos here. I'm sure they do. Hey, Bucky. Hey there, we meet... Oh, was he American? I think he was American, wasn't he? Hey there, we meet again. Hello, Bucky. I see you have another boat landing. Yepers. I'm expanding my service area to better meet my clients' needs, or something like that. Wonderful. So this is the first step forwards for you. There. Wonderful. So this is the first step forwards for your already thriving boat business. Not the Yepers, I know. Sure is. Took a pair of kids up for a ride down the canal earlier. We should be up and running real soon. I see. Well, congratulations. We should continue our investigation of Hayard Hill. Huh? Professor, what's that? What's what? Look, over there. It looks like Well, I'm not sure. Curious. Try touching it. That is a child. That is a child with a traffic cone on its head. That's not what I thought your face was going to look like. Oh, no. Goosey! What? What are you doing? Sorry, I was just... Goosey! Hi, I'm Goosey. I was hiding, but you saw me. That means I must have been sticking out again. Oh, drat. Silly Goosey. Yes, we saw you sticking out. It was pretty hard to miss. Why were you trying to hide in the first place? That's the thing. I've been looking for a place to hide for years now, but I always stick out. Sounds like a skill issue, mate. Whenever we played hide and seek, the other kids would always find me. I'd just be hiding, then realise that my foot or my head was sticking out. I've stuck out ever since, especially from society. Oh no. Oh no. I see. Of course you do. That's the problem. I'm glad you stick out, because now we can ask you a question. Do you know anything about Bardman? He is so different, truly. Not much, just that all the servants were let go and only the kids live there now. Wait, do those kids stick out when they play hide and seek too? No, not especially. You've been a great help. Truly, I do get that. Oh, so you just pump me for info and toss me aside? I see how it is. That's Goosey for you. And that's Goosey for us. He's quite a weird one, isn't he? Sorry, you already know it. Save that for later. Yeah, absolutely. That kid's weird. Okay. I'm looking to arrest the Spectre. Can't see how we'll find a cell big enough, but technicalities. Seems like something you should maybe think about. First a Spectre, then a witch? Yeah, I don't know about all that. Someone's pulling the strings behind some curtain. Logic says you have to find the curtain. Surprisingly wise words. Oh no, your face. Okay, so I asked one of the locals about the witch. Have you ever thought that maybe she's the one controlling the Spectre? Got distracted, but you got your chalky milk. Yay! Enjoy, enjoy. I mean, you've got a witch and a Spectre. They've got to be connected. There's absolutely no reason why they should be connected. Luke is so cross that she's dared say that. There is absolutely no reason why they should be connected. Like, step off, my girlfriend that I met literally one time and then she never spoke to me again. Step off. Luke's extra cute in this game. He's a little baby in this game. She's like... No, she's like... Oh, that box. She's like... giving that energy. Like with those eyebrows. Yeah. Whoa, kid, I was just joking, you know. Anyway, I figure that old man up north is totally Weirdsville. One servant for that huge place? Really? And he's like the gardener or something? I mean, if it were me, I would have kept the cook. Which I did not read that as the word cook. Anyway, because then you can eat it at least. I really read that catastrophically wrong. With only one letter. Look, okay. Kept the cock, because then you can eat it. Like, just... It autofilled, but autofilled it to the wrong word, okay? Don't look at me, okay? It's just what happened, right? We can all move on. The words look very, very similar. Right, what is over this way? The Bard Brats? Yeah, they used to be in line to own most of Mist Allery. Now all they've got is that run-down manor. Their old man wasn't nothing compared to mine, though. Did I tell you my dad's the police chief? It's giving my uncle works for Nintendo, honestly. Mist Allery Police Station's mission is to serve the people. We sincerely refuse to not cooperate. We're open to the general public, but the Chief Constable's got a lot on his plate at the moment. Can I go in now? No. I would like to go in. Okay. Ah. Oh yes. Oh. I feel like I've been everywhere. It's Mimi! We found Mimi! Let me send this to her right now. Mimas. And yes, Sabine, she is so cute. Oh, to be a side character in a Layton mystery, truly. I wonder if there's someone with your name, Barry. In any of the games. Hi, Mimi. Hello. We found you. She's been summoned. No, fam, her name is Mimi. You fool. You fool. Your brain hurts. Oh, I'm sorry. For real, no pressure to stay though. I know you've come in because I just messaged on Discord. No worries if you can't stay today. True, she could never be as cute as the real Mimi. Wow, according to the wiki, Berry, there is nobody in any of the games with your real legal name. Wow. I think my real legal name's in the first game, isn't it? Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, there's one in the second game. And this game. Your name would be so cute in a Layton game. Truly! Your name fits. Sorry, I didn't really say hello properly, but hi, Mimi, hi. I hope you're doing well. You dare to bet money on the fact that your name never will be. Right, if I work for level 5 ever, which I won't, but if I ever work for level 5, I'll put all of your names in. Yes, yes. Also, I love your name, Steve. So my legal government name is so popular that it's in multiple of the game. Multiple of the games. I wonder if yours is. Your name is weird. It's not. Your name is not weird. In the way it's not super common, but common enough you get whiplash moments. Fair. No, I think mine is super common. So far, I'm not seeing anyone with your name. Your actual legal name is not in games. I mean, your legal name just as in the longer version of it. Or are you going to drop that your name is not even that? No, Blair, you're not in it either. Sorry. Not surprised. Your name is... Yeah. It might as well be your name. This is so rude, honestly. Scam. Hey, maybe New World of Steam, there may be a Sabine and a Berry's real name and a Blair's real name. And a Mimi's full-length government name. Maybe. I remember the one time that I used Mimi's full legal name on a stream after she said something outrageous. I remember that. Gotta make... I did, yes. They gotta make a group of friends that are professional yappers. And then that's just truly... If there's a Sabine, you will give me 5 subs. Okay. We'll see. Let's hold out hope for a New World of Steam. Also, that list that I was on did not include Catriel, so maybe in the Catriel game, there might be. You know what, I can just Google that as well. Millionaire's Conspiracy characters, there we go. Haven't played it yet, so you wouldn't know. Barry, you're out, I'm afraid. Yep, Sabine and Blair, you're both out as well. Wounder. Never tell me my full legal name because it will get doxed on stream. Hey. Shush. Anyway, let's see what Mimi has to say, okay? Mimi, what do you have to say, folks? No, I'm not even talking about that clip, okay? That was me fucking up. There was a funny clip from like ages ago. Ooh. Do you have a middle name that I'm not aware of? Interesting. 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 You do. Ooh, okay. Okay. Yes, you. Oh, this is law. You have 2 middle names. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. What do I think your middle name's going to be? I can't remember your middle name. You might have told me, but I can't remember your middle name. Middle name, but I forget. We accidentally left it in on legal documents once. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, Barry, I'm getting that the middle name Rose is going to be in there somewhere. That's a guess that I have for you. But I can't think of what a second one would be. Sabine, do you have a middle name? You don't have to share it, but I'm just curious if you do. You wish you had a middle name? Oh. He's not, but it would be really cute, yeah. Okay, interesting. Interesting. I suddenly can't think of literally any other names. You're literally just Sabine. That works though. That's all you need. You are the Zendaya of the Netherlands. Yes, yes. Just Sabine. That's all we need. Absolutely. No last name, just Sabine. Hello, miss. Sorry to be so forward, but would you mind if I asked you a couple of questions? Mimi, I hope you know that I'm going to screenshot this, and whenever I need to ask you something, I'm going to send you this screenshot from now on. Like, to precede the message. You're just memes, absolutely. Wait, okay. Sorry to be so forward. Yes, yes. Oh my, it's been so long since I've spoken with a true gentleman. Oof. Called out, Mimi, called out. By all means, ask away. Why, thank you. Tips hat, nice to meet you, yes. Are you at all familiar with Bard Manor? The real. Well, Mr. Bard died about a year ago, and the place has had its doors shut since then. I also heard that all of the servants were dismissed. I wonder how that poor girl is doing. Yeah, no, Mimi needs a true gentleman, needs a true Layton in her life. Do you think she's a witch too? Oh my, are you one of those? Strange events in the town and nothing more than childish pranks. Where the sexy Layton at? Truly, where is he at? Where is he at? She needs Emmy, that's fair. That's so fair. Even this whole Spectre business, I wish people could be more rational about it all. If you're looking for information, I suggest you stick with asking those who aren't superstitious. Where literally did the emote go there? There you go. Wait, no, that wasn't the one. Where's Emmy camera? Oh, it's a follow. It's an animated emote. Good for me. I forgot about that. I thought it was BTTV. There you go. That's the one I meant. I spotted a friend of one of the Bard children west of the Grand Plaza. You could try talking to him. Yeah, I have two. I have Emmy, that one, the photo one, and then I have Emmy Notes, which is a still, just a not animated, but it's a BTTV one. You'll see it above my head now if you're on mobile. Right, yes. I wish the people around here weren't so superstitious. I mean, really. Can't even talk any sense into my husband. Don't you go falling for that nonsense. Yeah, no, she's quite cute. and actually gave me useful information. Right, she said west of the manor, right? Hey! Millhouse is here! Hello, you look like strangers. Let's talk! Okay. Hasn't seen a true gentleman in ages, but has a husband. I'm not married, but I feel like a lot of people may relate to that. Someone free me. Someone's parents didn't teach them stranger danger. Like, bro has not just missed the memo, he's got the opposite message. Not exactly, but we are visiting. Do you know anything about Bard Manor? Yeah, my friend lives there. His name's Tony, but I haven't seen him in a while. Just going to pause on this for a moment just for myself and one other person. Because mood. Actually, let me send this to Potato as well. Truly. Okay. I saw some old man with a beard around there, though. Do you know who that is? Yeah, it's Steve. We see Steve all the time. Yeah, I think we might know who that is. Oh, I think we know who that might be. Seamus, I presume. That's a funny name. He's always going by boat to the market with a massive shopping bag. Are you trying to find him? Oh, no, it's fine, thank you. I suppose we're heading back to the market. Are we? Why are we doing that? My dad's pretty much the best. Okay. Right, so back to the market apparently. See if what's-his-face will take me there. Oh, he's sodded off. You little git. Perhaps we should ask around a bit more. Let's continue our investigation of High Old Hill. Oh, okay. He said don't go that way. Well, I've asked around now. I've asked everybody. It's awful to call me a witch. People call me bewitching, but that's because I'm cute. It's crazy the superstitious rubbish these country bumpkins fall for. Yeah, whatever. Let's go talk to Millhouse one more time. Old man from Bard Manor goes to the market pretty often. Right. Oh. Ah, what perfect timing. Oh, really? Why is that? I just saw the old man from Bard Manor go down the canal. Okay, fair enough, that's where he sodded off to. Wasn't it you asking about Bard Manor? Yes, it was. Professor, he's probably heading for the market. Indeed, let's go over there. Thank you for your help, miss. Oh, miss, the pleasure was all mine, kind sir. Lucky's boats are faster than they look. If you're following them on foot, you ought to get going. Bard's spirit out for revenge. Hey, I'd be first in line for that film. Nice hat, by the way. In-game Mimi being a Layton simp. The devs knew what they were doing. What's over this way? I haven't been here in a while. The water in the canal runs all the way down here from the dam. Sometimes I wonder what'll happen if it rains too much and the dam overflows. There she is. Scrap says they pump the excess water into the reservoir, but what if the pumps can't keep up? Bro is concerned. You are tasked with filling a reservoir by pumping water from a nearby lake using 4 pumps. If you filled the reservoir using only 1 pump at a time, pump A would take 3 days, pump B would take 6 days, pump C would take 10 days, and pump D would take 15 days. You decide to get an extra pump to make your life easier. Which pump should you buy? Hold on. You decide to get an extra pump to make life easier. Which pump should you buy another of in order to get the job done in exactly 1 day? Oh, right. So... Bro's having 2 AM thoughts in the middle of the day, truly. Okay, so... This is a really, really weird way of doing this. But I'm going to draw a big circle. That's a circle. Yes, yes. So, if we scale this up, hold on. No, that's not going to work. Oh, okay. So, that is going to do 1/3 of the thing. That's going to do 1/6. That's going to do 1/10, and that's going to do 1/15. So if I maths this to be multiples of 30, then we're going to have 2 30ths. We're going to have 3 30ths. We're going to have 5 30ths. And we're going to have 10 30ths. So then 10 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2 is 20. So in total we've got 20 30ths. So I need another 10 30ths, so it's A.
Some puzzles must be met directly.
Huge.
No puzzle is without an answer.
I'm so smart, thanks. Thanks, bestie. And it's literally the way they just suggested doing it. Oh my god. Oh my god. I love when you do some like whack ass maths and the solution is like the exact whack ass maths that was in your head. Okay. So yes, yes. With another pump A, the job would be done in exactly 1 day. Full reservoir is in my puzzle index. Okay, so they can just add another pump. I'm fine with that. But what if the dam actually breaks? What would happen to the town? Well, the town rests on a gentle slope that has a network of canals. I expect the water from the dam would simply flow into the canals and drain away. Whew, that's a relief. I wish I had Layton to just calm my anxiety all the time. He'd just be like, it's fine, don't worry, don't stress. Anything going on in the house? No. Anything going on? So how's the fish research going? Oh, I've not been doing that. Instead of an angel and shoulder, it's just Layton. Truly, truly, what would Layton say? Yeah. I should employ that. The devil is Don Paulo. Truly. Truly. Fuck that. Right, let's go. Bard Manor was very beautiful. Once the staff left, the place slowly went to ruin. Do you know why the servants were let go? I heard after Mr. Bard passed away, his daughter ordered them all to leave. Leanne! Oh my gosh, hi! Hope you're doing well, friend. I saw your message in Discord earlier. I hope you're doing good. Yeah, hi. Everyone in my chat, this is Leanne, who is a partnered streamer. And you all should go and follow Leanne, absolutely. Don't mind me. Doing a bit better, thank you. Glad to see you live. For sure. For sure. Oh, last streaming Twilight Princess. Yes, yes. How am I? I'm doing good. I had a bit of a funk as well today, but I'm doing good, and yeah. Yeah, we okay. We okay. Amazing. Number 1 TP helper. I try. Okay, I may have played the game. Well, I was going to say I may have played the game a lot. I sort of haven't, to be honest. But yeah. Thanks, thank you. No, I was okay. I had quite a good day, and then like an hour before stream, I just had like a wobble. But then, yeah. So I'm doing better now. Doing better now. The flex. Okay, not like that. Not like that. I just like the Zelda games. Okay. I nearly played Breath of the Wild today, actually. Very nearly. Very nearly. But no. No. Yeah. Sorry, because it's kind of your first time here. We're playing through all of the Legend of Zelda. No. Playing all of the Professor Layton games very slowly. I don't know if you ever played these as a kid, but I grew up on these games and I really loved them. So yeah, we're playing through all of those. We have been playing some other games. Oh, we played Ocarina of Time. I think I mentioned that at some point. I don't know. But yes, I've been playing Ocarina of Time. I've finished that now. Yeah, we might play some Animal Crossing soon as well. Things like that. Yeah. But I feel like we have quite like slow, chill vibes. It's a good time. I love how you can tell it's a DS game by the look. Truly, they're good. They're just like dialogue-based puzzle games, and I really have a good time with them. And yeah, this is the 4th one we've played out of 7 on the channel. And there's an 8th one coming out soon. True, the pixels are very telling. Absolutely. Absolutely they are. Right, yes. Rumour is the kids decided they couldn't trust anyone and wanted to live by themselves. If I recall, the maid at the mayor's house, Beth, used to work at the manor. That's huge, actually. But I think she left before everyone else did. The rest of the staff are probably working on important households around town. I see. Thank you for your time. That is actually very useful. Very useful. Okay, for Leanne, we hate this NPC. Oh no! This is why we hate him. If the witch was a handsome woman, I could maybe forgive her. But she's not. She's an urchin. No thanks. Get away. Truly, truly. The artwork is so good. So good. 2006. Honestly, I think that was outdated when the game came out. Jesus. No self-respecting person with a genuine love of green could ever forgive that witch. I want to go to the house and talk to the maid then, if she used to work at the manor. Oh, it's been about a year since the Spectre first appeared in Miss Allery. Time flies. What is it about this town that calls to the Spectre and makes it want to destroy everything? Let's go and see if she's there. Oh, Bucky, you left us. You left us upstream. Hello, Bucky. How goes the boat business? It just keeps getting... Oh. Sorry, I have been known, Leanne, to do accents. I apologise. It keeps getting better and better. I had a fine time with my last customer. Who was that? You know that old gardener up at Bard Manor? I give him a ride on my boat about once a week. You'd think he owned the thing. But never mind. Don't. We have like Scouse characters. There's a Birmingham, someone from Birmingham, I think. Yeah, no, it's pain. No, stop it, friends, stop it. He must do all the shopping for the house up there. He's one spry fella. Hope I'm that agile when I get older. Okay, she's always been here. She is here. Good. I'm getting too old to be keeping this whole house clean. Oh, she has nothing to say. Oh. Okay. Be a voice actor, don't. No, absolutely not. Me at 23. Me at my big age of 23, truly. Now, do we see Seamus anywhere? Mr. Layton, won't Seamus be upset if he catches us following him? We're only out shopping, Luke. Anyway, if we have some trouble finding him, there's someone we could ask. You mean Aunt Taffy, right? Or one of those black ravens? Okay. So we are now stalking. I'll be honest, I kind of forget why we're stalking him. But, yeah, we are, apparently. You again? You haven't got any younger since last time. You're still not getting any sweets, Missy. Actually, Granny, we're investigating an important, investigation. Wait, where are all your sweets? Wanted proof she isn't a witch. Oh, okay. No, all sold out. Not that it makes any difference in your case. Taffy with a casual ageism, I know, right? Really? But you had so many. A young gentleman with a sweet tooth and too much pocket money came by and bought the lot. Did you also happen to see an old man with a long grey beard? Nope. Clarence was here, but he couldn't grow a beard even if you fertilised his face. All I saw was a sweet child with copper hair. He scooped up all my sweeties and off he went. When a darling little boy from High Yard Hill comes and asks for sweets, you give them to him. Taffy is so savage. All the way from High Yard Hill? Do people often come so far for your confectionery? Of course, my sweets are divine. Not that you'll ever get your mitts on them. Extra Granny, she's so built different. If you want to know anything else, go and ask the kids in the market. Go on, wipe that glazed look off your face and leave me be. Emmy, we can work something out if you really want sweeties. It's fine. I'm an adult, Luke. I can control myself. Okay. Well, next time we pass through, I'll buy you some. Yes. Yes, you will. Nice one, Emmy the adult. Welcome. What can I do for you? Have you seen an old man with a beard around here? I want to be Taffy in like a Comic-Con and ID people to give them candy. Oh, that would be amazing. That would be so good. Emmy is truly having a mare with these sweets. She really is. You mean Vernon? Can't say I've seen him seen him today. No, we don't mean Vernon. Have you seen anything strange in the market lately? No such luck. Most exciting thing I've seen today was some little kid going on a shopping spree. I see. Perhaps Seamus hasn't shown up yet. Oh, nice, thank you. Right, is this the kid that had all the sweets? Because he's not from High Yard Hill, is he? Which kid is it? I don't know. Someone just bought up all of Aunt Taffy's sweets. Yes, do you know anything about the little boy who did that? Oh wait, is it Tony? Maybe it's Tony. No, but if I'd seen him, I would have stopped him there and then. Do you recall seeing an old man with a white beard? Nope, but I do recall how good those chocolate limes were. Chocolate limes? Really? Chocolate limes? Okay, Gus, alright. Delicious as they may be, that doesn't really help us, but thank you for your time. Let's go this way. That doesn't sound tasty. I'm not sold on chocolate limes, I'll be honest with you. I saw one of those High Yard Hill kids down here today. I see him down here every once in a while. He's a rich kid, that's for sure. You can smell the money on him. Did you, by any chance, notice an old man with a white beard? No, but I don't pay attention to the comings and goings of every shopper. You could ask Crow. Do I have to go down in the hole for Crow? I can't remember. Meh, give me a break. When Crow's away, the Black Ravens will play. Where is Crow? I don't know. He needed to check out some things. He'll be back. If you need Crow, I'll give him a message, I guess. So fed up. Well, I'm not asking the cat. Let's try down here. What shall I buy today? This is charming. Oh, a classic piece. And this must be... He's acting as if he doesn't even know we're here. Okay. No. Oh, he is here. You're back. Did you find the witch then? You could say so, yes. So, what are you doing back here? We were wondering if you had, by any chance, seen an old man with a bushy white beard around here. Ah, yes, you've been all over the market asking about this, haven't you? My spies told me. We haven't seen your mysterious bearded man, I'm afraid, but we did find something else. Did I say I played these growing up as well? I did. I have them... Please hold. I have them literally as the front of my DS games case. I love the Layton games so much. Yes. The lighting effects of Barbie, thank you. The light was just a Christmas present. Yeah, no, the light was just a Christmas present, and it sat in my room, and I used it a few times for like ceiling vibes, and then I was like, hold on, this is suddenly perfect. There's Zelda at the front though. Leanne, I was not a Zelda gamer growing up. I think I've got... Okay, I do have Ocarina of Time 3D, but it's at the back. Because I played it a little bit, and I think I did the Deku Tree, and I got to like Hyrule Field, and then I like got stuck or something. I think I got stuck and didn't know where to go or what to do, and I got stuck. But yes, I do love it. Not a Zelda gamer. I wasn't a Zelda kid. I wasn't a Zelda child, but then I got Breath of the Wild and was like, oh my god. And then I've played like so many games. Everyone gets stuck there or Jabu Jabu, I swear. I don't know what I must have done, because I remember going to Lon Lon Ranch, and I'm sure I went to like Lake Hylia or something like that as well, but I just mustn't have found like Kakariko or anything. I don't know. But I've played it now, so it's all okay. We're all good now. I'm in the club. Right, we did find something else apparently. And what would that be? A juicy piece of info, but you can't have it for nothing, of course. I know emotes. I don't know emotes. You're all good. What is it? Is that not what you typed? Oh, capital S. Oh no, you're all good. You're all good, lovely. Oh, for the rest of stream chat, you know how I said like months ago that I was really trying to force the word lovely into my vocabulary, like calling people lovely, and I was doing the thing, but I was like saying it on purpose, so it just becomes a habit. Yeah, Leanne's why. Leanne is why, because Leanne calls people lovely, and I was like, oh, that's so cute, I need to do that. Yeah, no, it just happens now. Like I wanted to like have like nice names, and I was like, oh, I need to like make this happen, and yeah. And now it just happens, and I love it. But I worked at it for a little bit because, yeah, no, I may like it. I think it's cute. It's so cute, yeah. Yeah, no, I suddenly realised that I was like, oh my god. I can tell this now because you're here. I do say it a lot now. Yeah, no, I didn't used to, and now I do. You can say I never said that IRL just started happening on stream. Really? Really? Just a stream thing? Okay. I mean, I'm still like... I feel like I don't say it in real life that much. Like, I work retail, and I could not, like, call customers lovely. I couldn't hack it. Oh, I might get there, who knows? But, like, in streams and with friends, I'm like, yeah, I do it. But, no, imagine in real life, oh my god. I'd be scared to in London, that's fair. That's fair. Right, yes, we can't have it for nothing, of course. Let's see. I think I'll have you solve a puzzle for me. What a shock. Customers are not always that lovely. True, a lot of the customers are not, in fact, lovely. Right. I have a 52 card deck with no jokers. If the cards are all placed in a certain order that follows the pattern below, what will the number and suit of the 26th card be? Have a day off. I feel like I get a lot of pet names from customers, but I wouldn't dare using them for customers myself. Yeah, no. I feel like I don't get that many. I don't get that many pet names, but it's like... Yeah. Yeah, no, it'd be like that, I really do. Okay. So I'm following along. We have Ace, 4, 7, 10. Only from grandmas for you, but others would feel weird, honestly. That's fair. I get... I mean, because, like, there's a whole gender situation going on. So like I get a whole range of things. I get a lot of mate. And I'm like, it's a bit long, that. Yeah. I still reading sometimes when people will tell their small children to get out of the young lady's way. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, oh no, there's like, people can say the same words and have it be a totally different vibe, for sure. For sure, for sure. Hmm. Do you get called mate a lot? Because I feel like I get called mate a lot and it's like, man, which is, you know, not necessarily the vibe I'm going for, but no, that's fair. Right, I feel like it has to be 4. For what number is it going to be? Sorry, I know we're yapping away. Oh wait, hang on, that's not... Oh, 26 card, but it isn't just the next one. It's not the one after that, because that's not 26 cards, is it? Yeah, usually by... Oh, okay. Usually by men your parents' age or a bit younger, that's fair. Got called the boss of the cinema once, I like that one. Oh, the boss of the cinema, that's so good. I've had it twice in my whole professional career, but living where I do, I've been called Squire twice, and I fucking love it. If I get called Squire, it makes my day. By like someone with like the proper accent, if they call me Squire, I'm like, oh my god, yes. Squire's the best thing I've ever heard, I love it. I feel like I kind of get people calling you mate a lot, but a slightly different demographic. Yeah, that's fair. Need to remember that one. Oh, it's so good. I don't know if Squire exists outside of like my city, but all I know is like one character in a TV show that is from my city says Squire a lot, and then when I hear it in real life, I'm like, oh my god, Squire. It's so good. Not one you've ever heard before. I feel like it's got the same energy as like Boss Man in London. Like when people say Boss Man, you can say Squire. Like, it's the same thing. Of high social standing. I feel like that's like the proper meaning, and then you can say Squire. Because like in ye olden times, Squire, yeah, would have been like very high social standing. But I think in 2024 and in a retail shop, it's just like something you can call people. But it doesn't come out often, but when I get Squire, yes. A gentleman, Layton vibes. Oh yes, absolutely. Layton is truly a Squire. For sure. Okay, right, so we're gonna do... Sorry, for Leanne as well, I play these puzzle games and I'm aware that it's midnight and I don't know why I do this to myself, but I need to engage my brain. So, 1, 2, 3, oh no, that was bad, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 26. Okay, it's going to be a... What's that? Jack. It's okay, it takes me 40 minutes to push a block in the correct direction. That, oh, it's gone. Snow Peak ice puzzle. That can be tough for sure. Right. So it's a jack, and then we can erase this. So we start there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Bang.
A challenging puzzle, to be sure.
Hey! Okay.
I love the thrill of a good solution.
So do I, Professor Layton. Correct. A jack of clubs. The suits come in order. Yeah. While 2 numbers are skipped for each card drawn. Yes, okay. Nice, thank you. A little earlier, that rich kid from High Yard Hill was here doing his grocery shopping. A friend of yours? Hardly. I don't have rich friends, though it is profitable to butter up our wealthy visitors at auction. I see. Crow is on it. Crow is a businessman. Anyway, that kid comes here every so often. Not just for sweets either. He buys proper groceries. Large quantities too. It's not just little errands. He comes to stock right up. Make of that what you will, but remember, you can't always take things at face value. You certainly can't, can you, Black Raven? Please, you know the Black Raven's identity is a secret. Ah, of course. And thank you, Crow. Your information was very useful. Was it? Well, as long as you're happy. We didn't find out anything, and we lost Seamus. Now what do we do? I believe we learned quite a bit, actually. And if I'm correct, there may be an incident in town very soon. Okay. Okay, so we're actually just robbing this vault. Good to know. We are literally just stealing. Okay. Went right under his nose. Goodbye. Goodbye. Right, I'm gonna refill my drink as well. Because I kind of need some. Oh. Coin, thank you. I always finish these off on stream. I always do. Also playing some DV, so half lucky, no worries at all. And yes, thank you both. Where's my drink? It's not even there. If you saw that, the way I just went, and it was not there. Cheers. And would I like a jelly baby? Yes, I would. Oh. Nice. Am I running over something? No. Wait, I'm supposed to be saving points. I mean, you don't have to. You do not have to. Absolutely. You use your points on whatever you want, bestie. Oh, sorry, not to expose myself again as copying ideas, but I've got a postcard channel point redeem, and maybe guess who that's from? Who I stole that idea from as well. Sorry, Leanne, if you're still here, I may be stealing all of your ideas from my streams. Okay, up the stairs. I wonder what is happening in the town. I fully don't remember. The imposter, truly. Just copying the success. I'm sure it'll be up, not down, but I'll go anyway. Almost halfway there. Ooh. Maybe someday, maybe. Yes, yes. You know, you're the only people to know the truth about the Black Raven. Apart from us, of course. It started as a kind of game, but now even grown-ups are fooled and come looking for us. The black market started as a place to sell junk we found, but look at it now. Antiques and everything. But if they knew we were just kids, no one would take us seriously. Which is why you thought up the Black Raven, correct? Yeah, more or less. Please don't tell anybody, will you? I'll give you a puzzle if you like. Okay. To see the stars. It's not safe to look directly at the sun, so people use lenses made of materials that can filter light, like the two pieces of glass below. Bribery with puzzles, absolutely. These pieces of glass are good not only for looking at the sun, but also for seeing stars. Can you use the two pieces to see a star? The bigger the better. Oh? Is that a star? Sort of. Like that? Kind of a star?
Some puzzles must be met directly.
Yay!
No puzzle is without an answer.
What a star! Overlapping the two pieces of glass just so creates a green star-shaped area. Thank you, yes. It was us who started the rumours about the auctions, but the whole thing took on a life of its own. Last year we even had the local bigwig come by. Do you by any chance remember where you acquired the item called the Spectre's Flute? Oh, that? Who was it who brought that in again? I have a feeling it was just a piece of junk someone picked up, but don't quote me on that. You're too good at puzzles, we've lost the point. Nice thing about this post is the chief never notices when I'm late. He's a look that. Oh, I didn't say a word, alright? Okay. Listen, I just like puzzle games, okay? I'm good at them. See, circling back, I really want to try Laurely and the Laser Eyes, because apparently that's a puzzle game that's hard. Oh? Over there, what is that? I'm not certain. Let's head east and find out. What is occurring? Look, Professor! What is it, Emmy? Ooh. The witch's mark. They say it appears if the residents say bad things about Ariana. The witch's mark. Okay, yep. And a sweet wrapper. Just as I suspected. Oh, Layton's onto something, isn't he? See that house there? The folk who live up there were always moaning about the Bard family. When Mr. Bard owned the land round here, everyone complained about it. Can't say I blame them either. But that's no reason to go around bad-mouthing his little girl. I agree. Oh, here we go. Puzzle time. Solved the little enigma, or whatever it said. Really, Mr. Layton? Let's look at what's happened since we left Bard Manor. Why were we looking for Seamus? To gain Ariana's trust, to clear Ariana's name. The only reason. Love. I love this part of the mystery. To clear her name. Was it to clear Ariana's name? Thank you, Sabine, for having my back on that one. Correct, that's exactly it. We want to prove that Ariana is not cursed, so she will help us. Since Seamus is the only servant left, we thought he might give us some helpful information. But he was not willing to speak to us at the manor, and after that we lost track of him. Then we heard he often takes a boat to go shopping at the market, so we followed him there. We didn't see him there, but we did get some good information. Which person of interest was seen shopping at the market? Vernon with the specs, a boy from Highyard Hill, Clarence in his new outfit. A boy from Highyard Hill. Do you mean that boy from Highyard Hill? We heard he was there shopping. Yes, Crow said he saw a boy buying food and household goods, and of course Aunt Taffy's sweets. You think the sweets have something to do with our investigation? Yes, I believe they do. The witch's mark that we saw, what other clue was there? Was there anything that stood out to you beside the mark? Was there anything that stood out to you beneath the mark or on the wall, for example? A sweet wrapper. That's correct, Emmy. Now, who could that have belonged to? Well, that boy from Highyard Hill bought some of Aunt Taffy's sweets, didn't he? That's right, the wrappers most likely belong to him. But what does it mean, Professor? Where did Seamus go? Oh! I've just pieced it together. Yep. Yep, I'm on board. I'm with it. I get it, thank you. Alright now, calm down you lot. It's just a silly prank, there's no need to fly off the handle. Just take a deep breath, relax, and let's look at the graffiti. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Let's try it again, from the top. Breathe in. Really like this part of the story for how they drop the clues, yeah. Are you okay, officer? Ooh, fine. Just feeling a bit lightheaded, that's all. A police car's just gone past. Scrawk, terrible news. The witch's mark has appeared. Calm down, Finch. There's no playing these games makes me feel really dumb. Absolutely not. But also, I've been like playing all of the game. You know, you've been having showers and getting drunk and all kinds of stuff. So I've got the whole story in my head. You're all good, bestie. You're all good. Please try and calm yourself. Did you see who left this mark? No, I turned away for a second and... Caw. I didn't see anyone come through. That was it, Drumchka. There you go. Or did it just appear on its own with no one painting it? Screw up. Why is he making bird noises? Are we good? I'm going to go a bit further. Just to have a little nose, you know. Things were alright back when the factory was open. Rent was steep, but things were peaceful. Life was good, you know what I mean. And then, can't remember exactly when, the Spectre turned up and started wrecking everything. Have a legacy apparently I must fulfill, absolutely. Some say there's a person controlling the Spectre. Oh, he's got flakes coming off his head. What I don't get is why anyone and want to demolish their own town. It doesn't make sense. Truly, very truly. Okay, should we go back to Bard Manor and then have that be the last thing we do? Oh, hello. Hey there, how y'all doing? Get that man some head and shoulders. Hello, Bucky. What are you so excited about? Forget me, you're the one who should be excited. The wait is over. The High Yard Hill Pier is now open. Control yourself, please. We all know my boats are the best way to get around, but let's stay calm. I have a feeling Bucky would like us to take one of his boats. Yes, I get that sense too, Layton. Oh, you guys want to ride? Bucky's got some great boats here. Wait, we've still got 4 more locations. Wow. High Yard Hill West. This stop is for the Golden Garden dig site and the dam. I've arrived at North Pier. Thanks, Bucky. I thought only rich people lived in High Yard Hill. Yeah, this place is really shabby. I wouldn't let my dog stay here. Hey, okay, the gardener dude has got a lot on his plate. Professor, Luke, I see someone down by the lake. It must be Ariana. Let's get a better look through this fog. Cutscene.
Hey, is that Ariana? Ariana! Why are you following me? Go away! If you do not leave me alone, I will not be responsible for what might happen.
You are not actually cursed, my dear. And we can prove it.
What?
Ariana, you are not at all what they say.
Ariana?
The Calamity Witch is a myth. An interesting one, but a fabrication nonetheless. It was created to protect you, Ariana.
What are you talking about? Protect me?
Yes. I understand why your protector kept you in the dark all this time.
What?
It was better all along that you did not know. The one behind the curse was none other than... You there, young man.
Seamus?
Wait, she doesn't know.
You are aware of the witch's curse, that bad things happen to people who speak ill of you. Well, it is not a curse, just a simple trick.
What do you mean?
Seamus took note of people who said nasty things about you, and he then painted the witch's mark on their hopes. Rumors of a curse then spread throughout Miss Tallery.
Miss Stallery, that's how you say it. Okay, good to know. I've been wondering this whole entire time.
And the townspeople began to suspect that you were actually a witch. It was Seamus who created the rumor of the witch's curse.
Is this true?
Seamus, I know you think you're helping Ariana, but you're acting like a child.
Well, Emmy, there is a good reason for that.
And what would that be?
Seamus, why don't you show us who you really are?
Don Paolo! No. Oh.
Tony? I couldn't forgive the people who said mean things about my sister. Tony? What have you done?
Professor, how did you know this?
It is a Don Paolo level mask, truly.
Ariana with a young boy. But he was nowhere to be found, although we saw many signs of his presence.
I assumed Ariana must know. Because, like, how could she not? Like, you know... Girl, come on. How have you not pieced that one together? Must be a bit yikes though to have, you know, only two people in your life and they're actually the same person. Ooh. Oh dear.
I'm sorry my brother caused so much trouble. We just wanted to be left alone. We don't want people to fear us.
So the brother spread a rumour that you're a witch. Wow.
We're looking for the Spectre's flute, Ariana. Can you help us? Your father purchased it on the black market.
The Spectre's flute? I don't know anything about it. Ariana, please. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You don't know anything about me.
Perhaps we should all calm down a bit.
I told you, I don't know anything about a flute. Now leave! But we just...
She's definitely hiding something, Professor.
Tell him, Emmy. Just tell him.
All right, Ariana. If you really want us to leave, we'll leave.
We will?
Yes. Emmy, we should go now.
Ariana's curse was in fact inflicted by her little brother Tony, who, in defense of his sister, played tricks on anyone who spoke badly of her. It seems Tony didn't realise the townspeople were simply concerned about them. But if he... Don't get me wrong, I know there's more to the story, but if all Tony's doing is painting a mark, how does the Spectre attack those houses then? Retreat for now. If it gives me a good option to save, then I will save. Luke, what's going on here? I think it's about time you told us what it is that you and everyone else in the town is so afraid of. You mean the Spectre? It's all right, Luke. It's very scary. Emmy, I don't think you understand the true terror of the Spectre. The Spectre threatens to do more than just destroy our town. What do you mean? Spectre can destroy the fabric of our families. It can ruin our homes as well as our houses. When we become filled with fear, our hearts go cold. That's what frightens me the most. Do you really think the Spectre can do that to people? The Spectre has been a part of Miss Dallery for generations. It hears all. It's listening to us now. And under the fog of its powers, the keepers of the town become nothing more than pawns. Like my father. Luke. You're everything I'd hoped you would be, Mr. Layton. I'm glad I chose to seek the help of someone from outside Miss Dallery. You haven't disappointed me. The Spectre is a calamity which... Oh, the Spectre, the calamity witch, all of it happened so fast. What?
Why, Papa? How could you leave us? Why?
Glad he's gone. You reap what you sow. He deserved it.
Ariana?
Oh.
Ariana, are you alright? Is there anything I can do?
Don't touch me! Go away! Go back to your nice family and your perfect little house! I hate you! I hate everyone!
Ariana? Just go and leave me alone. I mean it, Luke.
Ariana was never the same after that day. It wasn't long before the spectre began appearing. The spectre? Really? Ever since that day, it's been as if Miss Tallery was cursed. People have been falling ill. My mother disappeared. Disappeared? Luke, what do you mean by that? Dad says she's travelling, but she wouldn't just go on a trip without telling me. I know her. My own father is lying to me. I know he's under the power of the spectre. The spectre will take over the heart of every grown man and woman. And not just in this town, it will reach out and take over the entire world. And do you think that Ariana believes this as well? I know, yeah, the one little tear. Perhaps that's why she won't talk to us, because she's afraid. Yes, she's frightened too. I don't know, Professor. I sensed Clark's unease as soon as we arrived. He isn't himself. Luke, I also believe the Spectre to have the power you describe. What? It's the Spectre's work. It changes people. It seems all this began with the death of Mr. Bard last year. We must look into the details surrounding his death. We'll need access to the police reports. Of course, that makes sense. Luke, I promise you that I will solve the mystery that plagues this town. You will. I promised, didn't I? A gentleman always keeps his promises. Oh, thank you, Mr. Layton. Our next stop is the Miss Tallery police station. That is a big promise, right? It really is. Okay. So I shall save here for the day. Because we've done a lot of puzzles and a lot of puzzling. I did save it, didn't I? I know I saved it. Shut up. Shut up, Snow. You saved it. Sorry, I know the music's bad. Hang on. Yes, I did. I saved it. Good. I did save it. I saved it. It's fine. It's okay. Nobody panic. I saved it. The anxiety of games with no autosave. But no, we're all okay. Okay, so I shall wind the stream down. I did want to get off slightly earlier because I think last stream I got off a bit too close to actually going to sleep, and it was not the one. But yes, this has been good. I did not know this was on the playlist. Did I just add it? Yeah, I did. That's why. What a bop, right? That vibe change. I know. Okay, so coming up soon on twitch.tv/snowbear, I'm definitely down to do some Animal Crossing, and I'm definitely down to do some Zelda, Breath of the Wild. That's where I'm at a little bit, and of course keep going with Layton, of course, but have like a B and C games as well. Animal Crossing, yeah, New Island. Which I think I want to do, but I'm aware when I start, I'm not going to have any recipes or anything to order from my catalogue or any Nook Mouse tickets, and it's going to be a long thing to do. I'm definitely, tell you what I am going to do, definitely going to use an amiibo to get Norma, because I need my wife on my island at all times. At all times, I need Norma. So. The other game's so good. Well, I can't really remember it. because I only did early game in 2020 and I've never done it since. So that'll be something to do. That'll be nice. But yeah. Yeah, so that's what we've got coming up. I am very excited for Breath of the Wild 2 though, for sure. Yeah, no, exactly. Need to commit to time traveling. Yeah, that's so fair. That's so fair. I mean, I think the game released, New Horizons released at the absolute perfect time. Like Nintendo had an absolute blinder there. I'd be busy now, yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. When it released, they'd cancelled Junior for us, yeah. No, we just had this one. Wait, does this one get claimed? I can't remember. There we go. I think Die Docs might get claimed a little bit. I literally sat on a free in college playing Animal Crossing when they announced they were sending us all home for lockdown. Really? We had, yeah, no, we got sent home like a week before. And then we had to like just sit and wait for Animal Crossing to come out, and then it came out and we could absolutely vibe. But yeah. They delayed sending us as much as they could. I think our uni sent us home, but I think our uni was the first one to call it. Like, in the area, at least. I can't remember, though. Ours sent us first, okay. And there was such outrage, and then look what happened. Okie doke. Specifically from the government, oh, well, we know how that turned out. Imagine having a leap year at that time. Oh, yeah, Week later announced lockdown, yeah. Well, it sounds like no one there knew what was going on, so... Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Would you call it a gap year? Do you mean you... Was it like when you finished school and then didn't go to university or college? Gap year, yes. Yes. We got you, friend. Not leap. No. I mean, it was a leap year. 2020 was a leap year, to be fair. So, you know. Leap years, yeah, the extra day in February, yes. That's the leap year. Of course. Right, so I should probably wind down the stream, but I don't want to. That's the problem I have here. I don't want to. Language is confusing. It's so confusing, and you do so well to be here when English isn't your first language even. You do so well. Dutch would give me a stroke, I think. I'm sure it would. Knowing me, yes. Okay, so plans for the future. I can't stream tomorrow because I'm back at my parents' house tomorrow. Then Tuesday, I suppose I could maybe stream. maybe, but we'll see what happens because I'm doing manual labour at my parents' house on Tuesday. So I might not want to stream then. And then Wednesday I'm going to cinema, so I can't stream then. And on Thursday I might be seeing Potato. I don't know. I don't know what's happening on Thursday yet, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So yeah, stream probably towards the back end of next week unless it's on Tuesday. But yes, you all know I'll post in the Discord, things like that. So yeah, that might be where I leave things for today, and I'll go and watch some YouTube and eat an apple and go to bed. That's the plan. See me when I have time, yeah. Oh, I need to wake up early tomorrow. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, I don't want to do that. Sad. Plan. I'd say. Well, I mean, when I say early, I mean like 10 o'clock. I could probably get away with 10:30. But like, that's still early and I don't want to. Need to go to sleep. Yeah, go to bed.
Go to bed.
Go to bed. Go to bed. Everyone go to bed. But especially Blair. Go to bed. Need to be up at like 6:37. Jesus Christ, go to bed. Need to... fucking everyone. Everyone.
Go to bed.
What do you mean, why do I have that? When you are the problem. You are why I have that. No. I went... Yeah, when I went to the cinema with Berry, we watched that film and that played, and we just looked at each other like, okay. And then, yeah, I may have added it to the stream. But it's ready to be deployed at all times, because, yeah, constant sleep deprivation. No. No. And book a GP appointment. Blair, do it. You're not forgetting that. I should try not to. Try not to. Try to. I'm not me without the lacking sleep. It's part of me. No, besties. Also, I may try and go elsewhere, not to because that's so fair as well, though. That's fair. Yeah, no. I hope you get the medical care you deserve because, oh no. Oh no. Big vibes, big vibes. Okay, yes, so I shall stop the stream and I will see you maybe in a couple of days, but if not, it'll be like the end of the week. Just need to check if it's appointments or walk-in at the place you're thinking of. That's fair. No, we're not having that. We're having this. Okay. That's the plan, I think. TR stream, of course. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for the rambling yaps and some Layton there as well. I appreciate it. I know I've been like low energy today, so yes, I will see you soon for some high energy Zelda or Animal Crossing or more Layton. That's the plan. Yaps with a side of Layton. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, also, there's no one I'm going to raid because everyone is at TwitchCon, but... yes. Oh, that's kind of me, though. Oh, it's an Emmy emo. Oh, that's cute. I hope Emmy's doing well. I hope the move's going well. Okay, yeah, ending stream so I don't just sit here and dissociate for a few hours. It was a 2, yes, for sure, for sure. Okay, thank you all for being here. I will see you very, very soon and we'll talk in the Discord in the meantime. Okay. Bye.
squeak.